Hey everybody, welcome. This is Wendy with what I'm going to call your Monday money moment, which strikes me as a little bit corny, but it works. So we'll try that for a while. I wanted to share with you the one thing that nobody ever tells you about running a private practice or starting a small business. The one thing that no one ever tells you is that you have to know your numbers. And no, that's not that much fun. And yet it becomes critically important. And let me tell you why. So, back before I started my first private practice, my last real job was I was the director of a family therapy program for a long-term residential treatment center for adolescents, where we had kids from all over the country who would come and stay with us for a long time, like a year, or sometimes longer than that. This is back in the beginning days of managed care. So there was a lot of work involved in making sure that insurance covered that, but we usually could make that happen back then. And as a department head, I managed a staff of, I've forgotten how many, 9 or 10 family therapists who worked with those kids and their families. And so did I, of course. And our primary concern was making sure that those kids got the help that they needed, and that their families got better, right? These were pretty seriously ill kids. The clinical work was extremely challenging and really fulfilling. There were a lot of things about that job that checked a lot of boxes for me in terms of what's important to me. But as the head of the department, I had a different bit of a role in that I also was constantly getting pressured from my higher ups to make sure that we were watching the bottom line for those kids, tracking their insurance benefits, making sure that we understood when they were beginning to run out and to make sure that we could prepare them for discharge if we had to, and all the things that go around with that. Making sure that we stayed in touch with whoever it was that referred them to us to begin with by calling them on a regular basis with updates. Just all kinds of things that were all about watching the money to make sure that the kids could stay there long enough to get the help that they needed. And I'll tell you, I hated that. I hated that. I didn't care about that. It didn't matter to me. I felt like that was somebody else's job. I was a clinician, not a CFO. Why did I care? I felt like that was not my problem to solve. That was someone else's. My job was to make sure that we got those kids the best kind of treatment they could get. Well, so then when I started my own private practice, of course, I took those attitudes with me, right? And I mean, I can remember thinking, when I start my own business and when I'm running my own practice, don't you worry, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to see the clients I really want to see when I want to see them, as long as I want to see them, and to heck with all that other stuff. Which cracks me up when I think about it now. There was a time, I remember, when I was doing some work at a treatment center that was in the county next to me, where I had to leave home at like 7:15 or so in the morning in order to be at work on time to be ready to see clients. And I can remember making that drive, which was like a 30-45 minute drive, thinking, man, if I ever run my own business, I'm not even going to go into work until 10 o'clock in the morning. That's when I'll start seeing people, because I'm going to be doing it my way. And yes, I did actually have all that attitude that you're picking up on me now. Well, funny thing about that, when you start your own practice and suddenly the dollars, like you see that bottom line and it impacts your ability to buy groceries that weekend, all of a sudden that stuff that I didn't think mattered, mattered. When I had 2 small children at home and a husband who was counting on me to help carry my part of the load, suddenly all that stuff I didn't care about, I began to have to care about. Suddenly it mattered if I had enough clients, how many clients I had. And because it mattered, suddenly I didn't just see clients I wanted to see. I saw pretty much anybody who was willing to see me. Suddenly, knowing what their insurance benefits were mattered, because I was on every insurance panel known to God. And I needed to know if the insurance wasn't going to pay. Otherwise, I was at risk for seeing people sometimes for weeks or months after their benefits ran out, which happened. That was part of the thousands and thousands of dollars worth of mistakes I made in the beginning. It mattered because suddenly how many hours I had available to see clients in a week. I didn't start at 10 o'clock. I'd see you at 7 o'clock in the morning if you could make it. And sometimes I did. Or at 8 o'clock at night. I would see folks pretty much anytime I could because I needed the money, right? So all that stuff that I had sort of turned my nose up at when I was just a clinician working in a hospital setting, suddenly I began to understand why that mattered and why somebody else was worrying about it back then. Because if they didn't worry about it, I wasn't going to get a paycheck, right? And we weren't going to help any kids. And this is something you need to know, because when you are the CEO of your own show, nobody's going to get any help if you're not getting paid. So you have to pay attention to your numbers. And that's a complicated subject with a lot of layers. But for now, let's just talk about 3 key things that you need to have in place to make sure those numbers are healthy for starters. The first one is that you need to have healthy money policies, or in therapeutic language, boundaries. Part of that is about your pricing. Does it make sense? Is it predictable? Is it across the board? If somebody asks you what you charge, do you know how to answer that? If they ask you why they should pay you, whatever that level of investment is, do you know what that is? I have worked with folks who have made so many offers to clients from a place of guilt that they had so many different levels of pricing, so many different discounts that they didn't even really know what they charged actually anymore. That's not helpful for anybody. So clear pricing is part of having solid, healthy money boundaries. So are policies that you enforce, and that where the rules are the rules and they're clear, they're understandable, and everybody knows where they stand. So for example, if you have a policy that says that folks need to cancel an appointment 24 hours in advance or they have to pay for it, you need to enforce that. I worked with a woman one time who had almost a 50% no-show rate in her practice because she was so lax about that boundary. She had it in writing. It was in the contract that her client signed. It meant nothing. So having healthy policies, healthy boundaries around what you get paid and how, what the rules are around that, that's the first thing I encourage you to have in place. The second thing I think you need to have in place are healthy money systems. And by that, I mean making it easy for your clients to pay you and easy for you to know that you've been paid. So if you work with people in person, making sure that you just sort of set up an expectation that when they walk in the door, the first thing they do is hand you a check for that day's work. Or making sure that you have a credit card on file that you can process automatically as soon as they leave. Or if you're meeting virtually, having that kind of card in place. Better yet, offer packages or even require packages so that folks are paying for the work up front, which will make life easier for them and for you. It's all done. It's all taken care of. That's absolutely the best way to do it. Okay? So the easier you can make it for your clients to pay you, the more likely you are to get paid. It's much less about the amount and more about the energy around it and the hassle factor. So your clients will appreciate it if you make it super easy for them to pay you. One of the easiest things you can do is have an online scheduling tool that when they schedule an appointment, it requires them to pay for it before they can book it. That's by all means absolutely one of the easiest if you're not doing packages. So that's the second thing I want you to have in place are healthy money systems that work for you and for your clients. And then the third thing that I want you to have in place is a little harder to grasp and something people don't talk about very much. But I think it is actually the number one most important thing of all. And that is for you to have a healthy money mindset. Now, from the beginning, when I first started my practice, even when I was making thousands of dollars worth of mistakes in those other two areas, the one thing I did right from the beginning was I approached my work with the point of view that we live in an abundant universe and that there is plenty of work to go around. There are plenty of people who need your help. It's just a matter of helping them find you. I really don't believe so much in competition. I never have. I've just never worried about that. It's just not in my nature. Now, part of that might be because I'm a 9 on the Enneagram, which means I am the ultimate peacemaker and mediator, and I can kind of see all points of view. But I also think from the point of view of a business owner, I really do believe that the clients who are right for me, I can help. But there's plenty of clients who aren't right for me. And I am more than happy to help them find someone who is right for them. So from the beginning, when I even just had a little tiny baby solo practice, I would say to people, I don't care where you get help, just as long as you get the help that you need. So if I'm not right for you, let me see if I can give you some names or some other ideas of where you might find what you need. And I took that attitude with me as I began to build what became a very successful group practice. And to this day, that is the attitude of that practice. And they have a reputation for being willing to help people find what they need, even if it means that they don't come to our practice. That's not made up. That's not something I'm pretending. I really do believe that. And I think when you learn how to have a healthy relationship with money, when you trust that your needs are going to be met and that your clients are going to find you, and when you make peace with profit, when you understand that it is appropriate and fair for you to get paid well for the work that you do, that it serves you and it serves your clients, everything gets better. Like all of that is part of having a healthy money mindset. And when you have these three things in place, healthy policies with pricing and boundaries around how and what you get paid, healthy systems for the literal way that people pay you and how you track all of that, how that all works together flawlessly, seamlessly, automatically, so good, and a healthy money mindset. The way you think about money is solid and grounded and good. Everything else is going to work, y'all. The rest is just a matter of learning and tweaking. So I wanted to share that with you today because all the mistakes that I see folks make tend to fall in one of those three areas. And Lord knows that was the case for me. Now, if you find that you are struggling in any one of those areas, I have something that I think is going to help you. I have created for you a brand new guide that I am calling 31 practical ways to increase cash flow in your private practice without becoming salesy or sleazy or somebody that you don't even like. It's an ebook that I have been working on for a while, and every one of the strategies that are in it are things that I have done personally that have worked for me. So they all work. Some of them are easy to do. Some of them are a little bit harder. Some of them you could take action on today. Some of them might take you a little while, but every one of them works. You can find that over on my website at www.wendypittsreeves.com. Just look right below the header. You'll see a place where you can sign up and get that as a free download today. Check that out and see if you don't find something in there that you can help you or begin using right now. I'm pretty proud of it, and I think you will find it super helpful. So I hope this is good for you. I hope this gets you thinking about things. I would love to hear from you in the comments below what this stirs up for you, what comes up as you process it, and what you do with it. All right? Thank you, everybody. It's really great to see you, and I will see you next time. Bye now.